All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Still got a little bit of a makeshift setup here, but I hope you guys don't mind that. Hopefully the sound is okay, the video is okay, but we're making do with what we got here. It is February 5th, and we got 6 games on the NBA slate. We're going to jump into each game like we always do. I'll give you my lean, give you what I'm thinking, but I will say my final plays, and I tell you guys this all the time, my final plays, what I'm going to be rolling with tonight, will be in the pinned comment right on this video. It's updated throughout the day, so make sure to go check that out. Last night's final plays, we only had one. We only had one, and luckily we got it in early. It was Wizards plus 2.5. That line, I would say a couple hours after we released the video yesterday, moved to Wizards like +1 or -1 or whatever because Kyrie was ruled out, but then Bradley Beal was ruled out, I believe. It was a weird sort of shifting of everything there. But Wizards lose by 2 points. We had them plus 2.5, so we're back in the winning lane here. We cover there by a half point. Whew. Sweated that one out. But yeah, guys, we're going to jump into this video. Before we do, I'm going to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, once you're done watching this video, go check out the podcast we released on the channel with Austin from Calling Our Shot. I know a bunch of you guys have seen it, but if you have not seen that, it was a great conversation. I'm going to do more and more of those shows right here on this channel moving forward. But if you're interested in me and if you know who Calling Our Shot is, I assume you do, make sure to go check that out. I think it is a good video and a good time and a good interview. You learn a little bit more about him. But let's go ahead and jump into these games. We have the Hornets taking on the Magic. What a great game, huh? Hornets 1.5 point favorites at home. Total sitting at 236 right now. In their last 10 games, Hornets 5-5 against the spread. The Magic 7-3 against the spread. In their last 6, they're 4-2 against the spread on the road, which is very impressive. They're 9-3 in their last 12 games against the spread here. The last time they played Charlotte, the last time these two teams played, I should say, was in November, mid-November. Charlotte won 112 to 105. The spread was the exact same as it is right here. In terms of injuries, obviously both these teams missing a bunch of guys day in and day out. Wendell Carter Jr. is upgraded to probable. Mo Bamba and Jalen Suggs out for Orlando. And then for Charlotte, Cody Martin is the only new injury here. I think I'm going to lean Orlando. I don't love this pick. I doubt this becomes a final play. You guys know I like to keep it transparent at least when this does become a final play. But neither one of these teams coming off a back-to-back or anything like that. I'm going to lean Orlando, and I'm also going to take a peek at the under in this game. Moving on, we have the Pacers taking on the Cavs. Pacers getting 5 points at home. Total sitting at 225.5. This line opened up at 4, so I think a lot of money clearly came in on the Cavs, and Vegas said, oh no, we got to bump that number, jumped a whole point to 5 points right here. Last time these two teams played was late December, and Indiana actually won 135 to 136. Cavs were 4-point favorites in that game as well. They played a couple days prior to that, and Cleveland had won 118 to 112. This is the third meeting this season. They've already split the season. I think I'm just going to lean towards the hotter team right now. Cleveland 6-4 against spread in their last 10 games here, whereas Indiana, even though they have gotten some guys back and they burned us with that Lakers game, they are still 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 here. And honestly, I always look to the injury report. If Donovan Mitchell is healthy, I have no problem leaning Cavs against pretty much damn near anyone in the league. He is such a beast. That team is great when he's playing. So I'm going to lean Cleveland here. They're coming off of a nice win over Memphis a few nights ago. And Indiana coming off of a win against Sacramento here after losing 4 in a row. So, you know, I do think that maybe they're starting to turn the tides. They cover, even though they lose, and they go and win and cover at the same time as underdogs. I just think Cleveland is the better team in this one, and I think this is a good matchup for them overall. So I'm going to lean that way. And then in terms of a total, I'm looking at the over there. All right, New York taking on Philly here. New York, 4.5 point dogs on their own floor. 225.5 is the total. This is the opposite when we look at an opening line as to where it is presently than last game when we talked about. New York opened at 6-point dogs. It is now 4.5 points. In terms of injury, Joel Embiid is questionable here. So I do think that, you know, maybe Vegas is saying, we don't know if he's going to go or if he's going to be 100% or anything like that, because that line did move like that. Philly has won 9 of their last 10 games. They're not covering as frequently as they are winning right now. They're 6-4 against the spread in their last 10, but again, 9-1 overall. They are playing very good basketball. They're 4-2, however, against the spread in their last 6 games on the road. And the Knicks in their last 6 games at home, 2-4. So I do think that I'm going to lean Philly with the assumption that Joel Embiid plays here, obviously. I think that this could be a pretty good game, but 4.5 points is not all that crazy for me to see Philly come into New York there and kind of ball out and cover. In terms of a total, 225.5, I won't lie to you guys, I'm kind of undecided on this one. No numbers jumping out at me or anything like that. So I'm kind of not sure. When these two teams played on Christmas, it was a 119 to 112 game. It was a total of 215.5. That was one of our biggest plays Christmas Day. So we had a read on that one. I don't necessarily have a read on the total here, so apologies for that. They did play earlier in the year again, and it was 104 to 106. They've kind of been all over the place in the last couple of meetings. All right, guys, moving on. We got Memphis hosting Toronto. Memphis 4-point favorites here, total 231. Toronto in their last 5 games, 1-4 against the spread. Memphis not playing that well against the spread either, 2-7 in their last 9 games here. I will say that they are probably the more talented teams. I'll give them that. Both these teams very much struggling. Straight up even, forget against the spread. Toronto 4-6 against spread. Memphis 3-7 against spread in their last 10 games. Memphis, though, at home 3-1 against the spread. So I do think that just because this is a fairly low number, 4 points, I'm going to lean Memphis. I think they're the more talented team. I know I've said that a couple times in today's video, but at some point, that's what it comes down to. It will come down to Jaren Jackson, John Morant, both on the injury report. I think this is Memphis or nothing. If John Morant is out, I'm sticking away from this game. It doesn't make me flop to Toronto, but if John Morant is in, I do feel confident in Memphis tonight. They're coming off 2 straight losses to Portland and Cleveland, 2 teams that they could have beat. That Cleveland team, obviously good, but they're 6-point favorites against Portland and still lost by 10 points. We were on the wrong side of that one, if my memory serves me correct, and Memphis was winning in the 4th quarter, so hopefully there's a little fire there. Moving on to Minnesota taking on the Nuggets here. Minnesota 3-point favorites, total 232.5. This one, obviously, you go to the injury report and assume to see something, and it's like, oh no, Jokic isn't on the injury report. So I see this line, and I'm like, how are the Nuggets underdogs against Minnesota? And I guess it's simply put, you have the combination of Denver on a back-to-back and Minnesota playing decent basketball, relatively speaking to how they started the season as of late. They're 7-3 against spread in their last 10 games, 6-4 straight up. They are coming off a loss to Orlando. But, objectively speaking, this Minnesota team is playing good basketball. Now, Rudy Gobert is questionable in this game. Same with Slow-Mo, Kyle Anderson. Austin Rivers looks like he's going to miss some time. But this Minnesota team is shocking me. I just don't think they're shocking me enough. Even though I'm kind of gassing them up, I do think Denver, even though it's on a back-to-back, that line may say that, without the injury report being updated as of right now, maybe someone isn't playing. Maybe Jokic, maybe someone... Minnesota shouldn't be favorites in this game, regardless of a back-to-back. So I am thinking that this line swung a lot because of an injury that we just don't have at our disposal right now. So assuming that Jokic is playing, because that's what I'm seeing. If Jokic plays, I'm taking Denver and the points, regardless of the back-to-back. That line is telling me he may be ruled out. But if he isn't, I might be all over Denver +3. In terms of total, 232.5. I think this one goes over. That is honestly, when I say I think, I don't really have any of the numbers to back that up, other than last time they played, which was mid-January, 122 to 118, a 140 total. That actually went under because it was 240 total. It actually went under because it was a 241 line, and we have a 232.5. That's a 10-point margin here. I think they get closer to what they did last time, but again, not too confident in that. Last game on the slate, we got the Pelicans taking on the Kings. Pelicans 1-point dogs at home. Obviously, they're coming off the back-to-back. Total is 229 in this one. Sacramento coming off of a loss to Indiana. We talked about that when we talked about the Indiana game. The Pelicans coming off the win yesterday to the Lakers, 131 to 126. De'Aaron Fox is out in this game. Jonas Valanciunas is questionable in this one. And then it looks like Brandon Ingram is good to go. Keep an eye on that Valanciunas. I think Valanciunas could eat in this game if he is a go. He was one of our player props yesterday, his points, rebounds, and assists, and he hit that. But then did leave the game ultimately. But for this one, I am going to lean Sacramento even without De'Aaron Fox. Now, that burned us. Was it 2 nights ago? We took Sacramento with no De'Aaron Fox, thinking it was still a good spot for them to cover against Indiana. It wasn't. It was close, but it wasn't. So I am a little weary of this pick. I doubt this becomes a final play. But in terms of a lean, I do think Sacramento still has some firepower and some talent on that team to be able to beat a back-to-back Pelicans team who, let's be real, this Pelicans team stunk before yesterday's game, right? So the fact that, we're only looking at a point here to cover, I do think that is a good spot. In terms of total, I don't hate the over. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys do enjoy it. We'll get back to the normal setup soon enough. But yeah, no matter where we are, like I always say, no matter where we are, what we're doing, going to try and grind and get these videos out, whether we're in the car, parking garage, or here, out, not at the, what I would call the studio. So hope you guys do enjoy and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.